This is Center Stage, putting your firm in the spotlight by highlighting business owners and other industry experts to help take your firm to the next level. Hey everyone, and welcome to Center Stage. I'm your host, John Henson, and this week we're talking about what it takes to build a successful firm, whether you're starting from day one, brand new firm, starting everything from scratch, or you've kind of been in it several years. There's a lot of things that you can still take away, I think, from today's episode to help put you on the right track from growth. And that's because our guest this week, he's been there just about every stage of a law firm's growth and development, and that is attorney James Grant. James, thanks for joining us.
Hey, John, thanks for having me. I'm really excited about today's call.
Absolutely. So before we dive in, what's your story? Where'd you kind of come from? How did you kind of build your firm up to where it is today?
Yeah, so it's taken all sorts of twists and turns, but I'll give you the 50,000-foot flyer view to get kind of where we are today. But I'm from Atlanta. I'm one of the few that's actually born and raised here. There's not many of us because it's such a transient city. And I went to Georgia Tech. I was a civil engineer. And for some reason, I decided to go to law school. I thought it was going to be something, new and special, and I was going to be able to use my degree and my law degree, and like the two were going to work together. And I was either going to be a patent lawyer or I was going to work for EPA. I had no clue what I was doing.
Right.
Got into law school, found out, that being in the courtroom, kind of being a salesman and also performing in front of people is really fun. And then that kind of changed everything. Got into litigation. I was a prosecutor for a few years. And then I went into private practice, met my business partner. He and I, after about 14 months, decided to make the plunge into business ownership. And then through the journey have learned a lot of skills. A lot of mistakes have been made along the way, but to get us to the point where we can grow, work on our business, not necessarily in our business, and just open a whole lot of doors, a lot of mindsets, a lot of opportunities. And I mean, you said the story, there's story and there's mistakes. There's a lot of things that have happened, but it's gotten me to a place where things are good right now.
Absolutely. So you mentioned skills up front. What are some of those skills that are necessary in order to build a successful firm?
A lot of times we, especially in the legal community, we think of law firms and we think of, it's a firm and that's it. It's something special. It's a business. So many of us in law school, we don't have any skills when it comes to business. We don't know anything. Not many people have MBAs. Not many people have run businesses or have entrepreneurs in their family they can rely on. And law school just teaches you how to think like an attorney. The bar exam does the exact same thing. Nothing helps lawyers be better business owners. So when it comes to that, it's not just about running a successful firm, it's about running a successful business. And I'm by no means the most successful business owner out there. I run a multi-million-dollar a year law firm, and there are many law firms that are way bigger than me. There are many that are way smaller than me. And it's not necessarily about revenue, but it's about revenue, peace of mind, and having the ability to step away from your business and your business also run as well. So I think my business partner and I, Mark, have been able to put a lot of those things together to where we're able to run a successful business, also step away from the business at times, and then that business still runs and is able to help a whole lot of people, especially in the personal injury side of things, which is where we are. But when it comes to, some of the big things that you need to have, is the most important thing is mindset. You have to have a mindset that is focused on professional development, personal growth, because the way you run your business when you start, if you're making $100,000 a year in your first business in your first year, the way you run that business is not the way you run a $5 million a year business. So understanding that you have to grow, you have to develop, you have to learn new skills, because you can't use those same skills from running your first year business as the way you're managing a team of 20 and all sorts of other things. So that's probably the biggest one that I would stick with, and I'm sure you may have some follow-ups on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back real quick because you said a couple of things. I had a couple of like aha moments there. The first thing you talked about was, law school and even the bar exams teach you how to think like a lawyer. And a lot of times I think people get caught up in kind of lumping the business owner and the thing that you actually do in the same category when it's two really separate skills. I mean, you think about any other kind of business, a chef that opens his own restaurant. Chef knows how to cook, but chef also needs to develop a whole completely new set of skills and knowledge around what it takes to run a restaurant. Same thing for like a landscaping business, a doctor, a chiropractor, whatever the case is. It's two completely different sets of skills.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that's a big misconception too with the public as well when they look at lawyers, because
Yeah.
the public, they want to hire the best lawyer because the best lawyer in their mind is going to get them the best results. However, the best lawyer may have no business skills or entrepreneurial acumen. And while they may be the best lawyer on the planet, your case may never get to court because they don't file it, because they don't have processes and procedures built in place to run a successful business. So it's definitely, you have to kind of understand that there's two things that you have to be watching when you're looking to hire an attorney. You have to obviously understand that they have a skill set for the legal side, but they also have to have the business mind to be able to run it successfully and get your case from A to B the way you want it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's where we have discussions about systems and processes. It has to do with your marketing. It has to do with the client experience and this customer service that you're providing. And there's just so many other avenues that we can go down that we just do not have time for. But the other thing and the other point that I wanted to hit on real quick is you talked about revenue and getting from that point where you can work on your business instead of working in it, and that it looks different for everybody. I know business owners who are running 10, $15 million businesses and they are working a whole lot versus like I'll brag on us for a second. We're, I think at 1.5 million right now, just to pull the curtain back, but our owner feels like he has the freedom, like he's in Finland right now, just on a whim, just decided last week, I'm going to take a vacation to Finland because I've got a team in place that can keep things running the way that I need them to. And I don't have to worry about my business exploding while I'm gone.
No, I mean, so many business owners, they are the business themselves. They
Mhm.
are the marketing, they are the sales, they are the production, they are everything. And if they step out, everything just crumbles beneath them. And really, at the end of the day, that's not a business, that's a hobby, because
Mhm.
you are everything. You're the receptionist, you're the bookkeeper, you're doing everything, whereas a business serves you. And you have to build it to do that. And it takes, again, like I said, it takes a very special mindset to get to that point. It takes entrepreneurial maturity to understand certain things that you learn along the way. Like, for instance, cheap is expensive. So many
Mhm.
times when it comes to hiring, to technology, to whatever you are spending money on in your business, if you go cheap, it's going to cost you more in the end. So
Yep.
just understand, hey, I want to make this decision. I want to make this hire or make this purchase. Let's just go with the expensive thing because it's going to work better. If you hire a $75,000 paralegal versus a $35,000 paralegal, you're going to hire a professional versus an amateur. Yes, it's going to cost more, but you're going to be able to bill more or obtain more from that individual as opposed to training the other one, which is going to take more of your time. So there's so much that goes into that.
Yeah, and I love that you started off talking about how, you know, for a lot of business owners, they are the marketing, they are the bookkeeper, they are the admin. Delegation, we talk so much about how important delegation is to the overall success of a firm if you really want to experience that upward growth. I mean, talk about, you know, what you guys did and how you guys have been able to delegate some things and how you've been able to go about doing it and what it's kind of resulted in.
So I want to speak to any lawyer that is listening to this. you do not need to be the smartest person in the room with everything. And I was the number one offender with this in my business. I thought I had to be the best salesperson, the best marketer, the best attorney, the best closer, like everything. I had to be the best because as the owner, I'm the only one that can do it. And if I can't do it, then no one else can do it as good as me. That is a toxic and terrible mindset to have as a business owner, because what you want to do to get out of the business and working on the business is hire professionals that are good and better than you at their given craft. If somebody's great at marketing and knows more than you, awesome. You don't have to know everything to supervise somebody. So when it comes to delegation and hiring and processes, is put things in place from an objective metric standpoint. Before you make a hiring decision, decide what are the key performance indicators? What does success look like in this position? What objectives do I want this person to deliver? And then once you know that, then you can build the job description. Then you can go market the position and say, hey, this is what you are going to achieve for me, and this is the time that you have to do it. And then it doesn't matter whether you know how to do the job, because they're going to know how, and they're going to have to deliver based on the timelines and performance metrics that you set. So that means that you can bring in really, really smart and qualified people. You don't necessarily need to know how they do the job. You just need to know the job gets done. And then once you start doing that, you can delegate so many things. And it's freeing, and it allows you to be the visionary of your business, not holding the business back because you're doing the work yourself.
Yeah. Did you ever have any concerns though along the way? Like, what if I bring in this marketing person, for example? I don't know anything about marketing, but I'm going to bring in this person who has worked in marketing for 10 years. What if they don't respect me because I'm still their superior, their supervisor, but I don't know as much or at all, if anything, about their job function as they do? Like, is there ever that concern about bringing in someone who knows more than you do, especially when you've spent so much time being everything to begin with?
Absolutely. Like, yes, you need to have some concern to make sure that you're making a right decision. And I think that's fair, especially as you're on this journey to become a better and different and more experienced entrepreneur. But I will challenge that by saying, if you're hiring a professional, they are going to be working with you on a professional level. And for instance, this person that you may be hiring in marketing, if they're going to be a high level position and they're going to be effectively in your C-suite, you first need to make sure that you work with them. Everyone that you interview should meet the objective metric and qualifications that you set out. However, once those people have passed the objective metrics and you know that they have the technical experience, then you have to hire for culture. You have to hire people that fit with you. Because with business, with life, with work, we only do those things with people that we know, like, and trust. And you have to build that early on. And that's where that interview process to make sure that somebody fits is going to work well with you, because you don't want that person that says, I'm better than you, I know everything, you're going to do exactly what I say. You have to understand that the person signing your check is the owner. Now, they have something that they have to give to you as well. They have to give you leadership. They have to give you responsibility. They have to give you respect, and that has to be shared as well. It's one of those things where, you can't just say, I'm the owner, you're going to do it, because then you're going to have no one following you as well. So there's a lot of this that, is growth on all sides.
Yeah. And just the more conversations like this that I have, the more I realize that, like, running your own firm is just not for the faint of heart. You have to, like, there's so many layers to this, because now we can talk about, well, all right, what are some good hiring practices? How do you ensure that you hire the right people? How do you build the systems to make sure that they're doing everything? So there's just so many different things. And for the ones that go years doing all of this themselves, just continues to blow my mind how they're able to do that. But then that also probably explains why the legal industry especially has such high rates of burnout and substance abuse and mental health, issues. And so there's all the, and again, there's so many resources out there to help you, but I think at the end of the day, it comes down to you recognizing that and surrounding yourself with a good team and good people. And so the other thing I wanted to ask you about, you've mentioned a lot of metrics and KPIs. What are, in your opinion, some of the best metrics and most important metrics and KPIs that a firm should be tracking?
Oh man. So I'm probably going to overwhelm everybody, but I mean, there's a ton of metrics that you
Oh
have to
yeah.
run your business on. I mean, if you are running a business based upon like gut and feel and I think and I hope and I wish and they make me feel all fuzzy and warm because I like them so much, like you're not running a business, you're engaging in a hobby. A
Yep.
business, and I make this comparison so many times. You look at the biggest businesses that are out there. You look at Amazon, you look at Tesla. Like these are businesses that are run based on those objective metrics and processes and procedures. It doesn't matter if you're best friends with your hiring manager. If you can't deliver, like that's what this is about. So you as a business owner, and especially as a law firm owner, you have to know your financials. It all
Mhm.
starts with the financials. And if you're not reviewing your financials on at least a weekly basis, there's a problem because you can't see what's coming down. Now, sometimes there's ignorance. You don't want to see what's coming down the pipe, but you would much rather see that you're maybe facing a cash crunch in 6 months as opposed to getting there and realizing, oh no, I have a problem. So, we're
Yep.
looking at things like total revenue. We're looking at things that average case value. We're looking at, our expenses, and our expenses broken down from, even if we're talking about our staffing costs, because we have to track our staffing cost ratio, but we want to know what are our top third of our salaries, what is our middle third, what is our bottom third, and how do those distributions look, and where are our people? Are we top heavy? Are we bottom heavy? You're looking at where your cases are coming from, how many open cases you have, or how many cases did you open, how many active cases you have, and how many cases you closed. Because you could be at a place where you're closing a lot, but you're not opening enough. So you know that maybe in 4 months, you're going to run out of cases. So now you got to go back to marketing. Or if you're onboarding so many cases and not closing enough, you need to go hire more. So you have to be tracking all of your metrics, all of your financials to understand, how many cases you have, where the problems are, how is your staff running those cases, and then the fees that are being generated. So that way you can track, forecast, predict, because everything in business is predictable if you rely on the numbers.
Yeah. If I would guess, I know the answer to this question if I had asked you, but we run something called EOS here at our
Yep.
office. Yeah, I figured you would be familiar with it because you've said a couple of the terms that they use, and that's the meeting structure that they have is a great way to pulse on those, to check in on those metrics. I mean, and to your point, even from us, I mean, obviously we're not a law firm, but like we have, everyone has a KPI. That's the one thing, the one number that they're responsible for hitting. But then we have weekly meetings where we have a scorecard, and there on each scorecard in each department, there's God, probably 10 to 15 different things that we're tracking, ranging from, like you said, finances to projects that are going on and all that kind of stuff. And it really keeps everything organized, and it allows people to raise issues so that no one's ever blindsided by numbers that are off or that issues that are kind of underneath the surface. Is that something, is that how you kind of run your firm, and everyone's kind of aware of everything that's going on?
I don't want to say yes because I think it's always a growth. You're always
Right.
trying to. I don't know if necessarily you ever arrive, and whether you're implementing
Right. Oh
EOS or
yeah.
some other thing, that you get there and say we've done it right. But yes, I think EOS is great. There's many ways to skin a cat. It just
Yeah.
matters of picking one and truly implementing. Like if you're going to do something, go all in. Don't
Yeah.
just dabble and say, well, I'm going to try this, implementation or process or procedure methodology, but it doesn't really work. Well, it doesn't work because you didn't commit to it. So whatever you're doing in business, you have to make sure that you commit to it. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I can even speak from experience with us. We we kind of, we're all in, but we're also always looking for ways where things can be improved. Like, you can have the framework in place, but you just don't get complacent with that. You don't just confine yourself to that framework. You can always be open to challenging and expanding and tinkering with things along the way. And I mean, it definitely sounds like that's something that you guys do a lot of.
I mean, we're trying to. I mean, I've learned over the years that I'm not the best business owner. I don't know everything. So if anybody has a suggestion, it doesn't matter where they come from, what position they're in, I'll listen to anybody, because if you approach things from the positive or the yes mindset, it's going to be
Mhm.
so much better than just saying no and shutting people down. Like, you
Yeah.
don't know everything, so let other people help you, because that's how you get better.
Yeah, absolutely. So the one last thing that I wanted to ask you is just this concept of finding your niche. And, you know, you guys are in the personal injury space. Was that a conscious decision? Did you start as kind of like a door law firm, general practice, and then you finally niche down? Or how did you guys make that decision to focus on like one primary area?
Yeah, I mean, niching down has been a huge part for us. So when we started, we did, like you said, we did door law. If you came in the
Mhm.
door, we were going to represent you. So we did personal injury, we did family law, we did criminal defense. I mean, a few other random things that would just come along the way. And that was just a product number one. If that was the first year, it's like we had to make money, we had to generate revenue, because you start a business, not most of the time you start a business to not just do something for the public, for the greater good. Generally, a lot of people don't have a giant trust fund or this giant stack of
Right.
cash where they can just be altruistic. You start a business because you want to provide a better life for yourself and for your family, and then help a lot of people. But generally in that first year, it is very tough. So yes, we did have a lot of different practice areas that we were in, but we realized very early on, if you dabble in everything, you're an expert in nothing.
Yep.
So we had to narrow down, and we were both very good at personal injury. We enjoyed the practice area. We enjoyed the diving into the actual law and the arguments and the processes in the community. And we also knew that we could really help a lot of people, because really these insurance companies just take advantage of people left and right.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing to me how you in state law, but the insurance company can also run a for-profit business to meet that state law requirement. Totally a side note, but it just
Yeah.
blows my mind that we're there.
Yeah.
So we realized, all right, let's stick with personal injury. Even further, there's 10,000 practice areas within personal injury. So we focused even further on a new model that we have now. We don't market B2C. We don't market to clients or consumers or people that are injured in car accidents. Our law firm helps other personal injury attorneys make more money faster with less stress by functioning as their outsourced litigation department. So even within personal injury, we have focused on litigation and
Mhm.
specifically helping other law firms. So our marketing is more B2B in marketing and networking and being the resource for other personal injury law firms. So, I mean, we've kind
Wow.
of just dived down
Yeah.
to where we are in this very niche market,
Oh yeah.
but that kind of helps because again, there's the mindset of, conventional wisdom gives you conventional results. If you're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, you're going to get those exact same results. So you have to be different. You have to have your unique value proposition.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of looking at it from the marketing angle, one of the things that I always talk about is, when you are this door lawyer and you're trying to stand out from your competitors, everyone is your competitor because you're competing against the family law firms and the estate firms and the business firms, all of them. But then now you focus just on personal injury. Now you've eliminated a lot of your competition. Now your competition is just other personal injury firms. And then you do what you did and you niche down even further. Now your competition is really just personal injury firms that also litigate, which
Yeah.
is probably not all of them. So, it makes your marketing a lot easier because you're not having to fight with a bunch of other competitors for the same real estate.
Well, and even then, like, you're not competing, but then you gain a whole vast network, because
Mhm.
if you can find other people that do what you do in their field, all of a
Yeah.
sudden now if you're the personal injury attorney, then you get to build a relationship with the estate planner and the business attorney. And then all of a sudden you have these networks where you can create a referral machine. So when you get a case, you refer it out to somebody that you know, like, and trust. And then when they get the referral, it comes back to you, because the more you give, the more you get. So it shouldn't be a fear to niche down. It's really going to benefit you in the short term and the long term, because you're going to get so much more.
Yeah. And especially, the last point I'll make to that is just our society is really conditioned now to seek out the expert and to work with that specialist. And so when you have that singular focus, that really allows you to focus your marketing on that expertise and that singular focus. And then that's what helps elevate you and be seen that way. And then from there, you can drive all the referrals and build all the business that way. James, I mean, this has been a ton of great information. I mean, so many different layers that we've kind of looked at and kind of unpacked and just kind of looked at the very broad scope of it. One final question I have for you before I let you go, just, out of all of this, if you had one final piece of advice for our listeners, what would it be?
So it's going to be two things.
Absolutely. Even better.
First one is hire a business coach. You have to do it. You don't know what you don't know, and you need somebody to help you see the forest for the trees, and sometimes the trees for the forest. And especially in law, there are so many options, there are so many alternatives, but most lawyers just don't know business. Take the step of realizing that you are not the smartest person in the room with your business, and let somebody help you to get better at that, and that will change everything. But my part two of when you do that, you have to go and play all in. You have to commit. And kind of like Cortez, you have to burn the ships behind you. If you are going to make a decision to grow your business and to commit to yourself and your family that you're going to do it, you truly need to do it. Because if you play kind of just half in, you're going to fail. If you burn the ships behind you and this is your only option, you're going to have drive, and that drive will get you so much. So that's my two top things that I would say.
Yeah, I love it to kind of echo that. Like, it's okay to allow yourself to be vulnerable and to ask for that help. Like, it's certainly not, it's not going to make you look weak or incapable or anything like that. If anything, it shows that you have that self-awareness and still have that desire to put yourself in the best position possible. James, I mean, how can people get in touch with you and learn more about the things that you're doing at your firm?
So the best way to get in touch with us is through our website. That's the best way, and it's simple. It's our toll-free number. It's 833-4-THE-WIN. So 833-4-THEWIN.com. You can check us out, especially if you're another attorney. Go to our website. We've got a ton of free resources. We put all of our complaints, our templates, our motions, our discovery. We like to share a lot of our templates and our samples because our motto is a rising tide raises all ships. So if it's helped us, we think it can help you. And if you have questions, just reach out. I'm more than happy to talk with anybody. Doesn't matter whether you're here in Georgia, whether you're in Alaska. We'll talk, we'll help, we'll make it happen.
Awesome. Love it. James, this has been really great. A lot of good stuff here. Thank you all for continuing to listen, rate and review the podcast wherever you're consuming it. And also send your feedback to the episode. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what other topics that you'd like us to cover along the way. And that's going to do it. James, thanks again.
Thanks. I'm going to go grab some squats now.
Nice. Love it.
Thanks for listening. To learn more, go to spotlightbranding.com/centerstage.